We're live from Texas with Deckorators.
The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at with your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast, live from Mount Pleasant. This is my first time here ever.
This is my second podcast from Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, the last room was a little bit toasty.
Holy smokes.
You know, you have to end the
warm.
podcast when you start smelling the other guys you're doing podcasts with.
All right, guys, time to shut this down. Let's go outside to the 110 where it's cooler.
Yeah. So we're still here at the event Steel Sharpens Steel, courtesy being brought to you by Ashley Campbell and his great company, Extreme Backyard and Beyond. And we're now moved indoors here and made everybody stop using their power tools. We've pissed off a lot of people right now. They're like, we're trying to go home. And so we've paused them because we've got...
And it's all like, yeah, well, we were trying to get here. So
yeah.
Every one of us.
Right?
Trying to get here to get something done. Now we're going to stop to do that.
Did you have some trouble getting here too, Varney?
No. Mine was uneventful and had a fast car.
Okay. Lucky for you. So we're here with Nick Larr from Deckorators. What's your official title there? Like
Contractor development manager for
culture
all of Deckorators.
ambassador? Culture ambassador?
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Contractor development ambassador.
That's right.
Okay. And we have Jason Varney from Deck and Dock and
Dock and Deck.
Dock and
Thank
Deck.
you.
See, I knew that was right. So I said, this is why we need a new producer.
That's all right.
Oh,
Tyler, get on the mic. We're here for part of this event. You guys are very involved in it. Like Jason, you're here to help out. Kind of, you've been building and sweating like crazy. I've been watching.
Correct.
But Deckorators has also jumped in from a sponsorship perspective and provided a lot of the decking that's going down here,
Absolutely.
which is great. And even though Deckorators and Fortress aren't, I was going to say in bed together, and then I just did anyway. Not formally, but like your products are getting used by a lot of the same builders on the same. Every time steel goes down, it's often that Deckorators is going on top of it. So that's great.
yeah, and it's a pretty good collaboration because Fortress has their own decking, and somehow their decking isn't.
Yeah, they're just turning a blind eye to all this stuff. It's like, yeah, no, too cool. Don't totally put down the Deckorators. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
So-
Everything is fine.
So, how's the event been so far today? We won't get into it, but Wade and I got here a little bit late by a day, so we didn't catch the actual like framing part of it. But how was yesterday for you guys?
It was great. I mean, we've had about 70 contractors and vendors here collaborating on all levels. I think this is one thing that I've really never seen in our industry. Like we got Deck Expo, we have things that we're doing where we're all at one area, but this has been a true collaboration, right? With having all the brands, us helping Fortress out and Fortress helping us out and Camo and everyone coming together, and it's been amazing so far.
We were kind of talking about that earlier, how it's kind of cool that this event it's not some organization that's putting this on for some, through benefit of their own or something. Like this was just started by Ashley, but a lot of people just kind of jumped on board and were like, yeah, let's do this together. Let's all make it happen. And this wasn't like a formal thing where it was like planned out a year in advance. It's just like very organically spawned. And then everybody's like, yep, want to be there. And then here we all are. Like, it's pretty crazy.
And it truly did. I mean, Ashley called and said, hey, I'm going to open this showroom. I'm going to build this deck and this deck and this deck. I've got tons of stuff happening. He said, I've contacted Fortress. I've contacted Newcastle Steel. I've talked to Decorator, talked to UFP, ProWood. All that went in bed together. And then they said, how are we going to put it all together? And then it's just turned into it.
And then Ashley was like, I'm going to phone other people to build my stuff. This is going to be so good.
And actually, yeah, that's what's happened. People have came here all over, regardless of what you work out of, steel, wood, this brand, that brand, whatever it may be. Yep. And everybody just decided to go ahead and help build and put this thing together and make it to where actually his office or now sales room is really come together in, 3 days?
Yeah.
No
where this
kidding.
would have taken tons of time
Yeah.
to build out with him and his crews.
So I wasn't surprised to hear because this was news to me too. I was gone on a fishing trip with no access to any phone or anything for a while, and I landed back and it was planned. And it was like 3 weeks later. It's like, by the way, keep your calendar open. We're going to Texas. What? So that'll happen. But I wasn't surprised to find out that Deckorators was involved in it because Deckorators has always kind of put themselves, in front of contractors and wanted to be a part of, the contractor community as well, even as a vendor. That's just kind of become part of your brand. But why is that? Like, does that come down top, bottom, or how is that because like there's other vendors that aren't here that have chosen not to be here, not to be part of it, or maybe they didn't get asked. I'm not sure. But you guys are always there at these kind of events. So.
For sure. Well, we truly believe in the contractors, right? That's what's going to get our product to where it needs to be. Over the last couple of years, we've really tried to grow on building that brother sisterhood of contractors that really follow us. I mean, we've got contractors from all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast that flew out this on their own dime, right, to come out for this event. So
and the North Coast.
And the
too.
North Coast. That's right, North and South Coast. So from all over the country, and we know for us to build a brand, we have to have the support from the contractors.
Right.
And so anything we could be a part of, that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I think all of us contractors recognize that too. That's one of the most attractive attributes that they carry to us, and that is they obviously engage with all the other companies. They don't make the contractor or us, or at least myself, feel like I'm doing wrong because I use another brand or a product.
Right.
They embrace that. And I saw that a lot here. I know this is a Deckorators podcast, but I saw Fortress even talk about it. We don't really mind as long as they're using our product underneath.
Yeah.
I don't care what goes down on top of it.
Yeah.
So they really embrace it. You can use Deckorators on top of Fortress, or they don't really mind if you're using their product on this and they're railing this type of stuff. There's just a really good mesh of how this is all going together, and Deckorators has always been that. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen from all the guys going to the brand.
Yeah.
They run it separate from how everybody else has done for the years.
Exactly.
And it's really taken hold because of that.
I think contractors are very, very aware of how much relationships play a part in their own business, whether that's with their customers or with their employees, their team members, or with their local lumberyard or whatever. That's all. You've always valued that, but it's kind of different to have a manufacturer that also values that contractor relationship as well, which didn't used to be as much of a thing, right? And Deckorators has really kind of seemed to step forward and been like, you know what, we're going to be at the events. You're going to know who we are. You're going to know our face. We're not just a forum on a website when you need something. Like, we value this relationship one-to-one. And so I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of guys have made the jump to Deckorators. But for yourself, Jason, you've been like, you're old, man. Like, you've been around a long time.
Man,
The oldest guy on the set today.
Oldest guy on the set today. I feel terrible. I mean, honestly.
That's because of what you did last night. That has nothing to do with
that's
your
all right.
age.
Hey, condition the liver.
But your company's been around a while. You've worked with a lot of different products.
Mm-hmm.
You've found your way to Deckorators now, or maybe they found you with a large briefcase full of cash and Lamborghinis and shit. But something drew you to them. What do you value from them? What's different that Deckorators provides than the other brands that you worked with in the past?
I mean, and just to be straight with everybody, I do embrace all the brands. I like them. They're all great. Why you go with a certain brand is you have to believe in it, right? Mm-hmm. I truly believe that mineral-based is the real deal. I mean, it's completely changed the game, and nobody else has that. There's other companies that have very good products. We're not taking away what they have, but they, one, make a product that you really agree with and believe in, and I truly believe that to be what people would consider the best deck builder or the best dock builder or whatever, you have to offer the best products.
Yeah.
And if you know there's a product that performs better or does better on the market and you're not using it, are you really building the best product for your customer?
Yeah.
So I truly 100% believe that Deckorators Voyage is the best decking made. And the core, the way it acts, the traction, the how cool it stays, the dissipation of heat, all that, everything about that. So that's really what drew me. The next thing that drew me was the ability to, and this is one thing that Deckorators has really done, they listen to the contractors. And I'm not saying that the other companies don't. I'm saying they act upon what they listen to.
Big difference, yeah. It's
Big difference.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. You say, hey, listen, I want a dark slate trim board. Well, oh, that sounds neat. That'd be cool. But it never happens.
Yeah.
2 years later, it never happens. 3 years later, it never happens. You say something like that to them, and if it's a very valid point, they're acting upon it.
It's almost like if they've heard it a couple other times.
Correct.
Right? It's like, okay, well, there might be something here. We should have a grooved one-side trim board. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just have that outside board that had one groove in it? People have been talking about that for years.
Yeah.
It's like, Deckorators brought that out. They did it.
Correct.
And everybody's like, holy smokes, like, this is fantastic.
And also, we've seen the other thing that's huge is we've seen the contractor programs.
Right.
For all manufacturers across the board. But is it a contractor program or is it just a book of these are the people that use our products?
Right.
What do you gain by working with that company, or what does that contractor program bring you? That's right. They've made a real focus on making it to where the contractors that are using them, and again, not exclusive to them, using them and are in their contractor network as a pro installer, they're doing things and making benefits for them that really, really help elevate their companies and elevate them on a platform, which is really odd because nobody's done that.
Yeah. So for you guys, like, I don't know, like a lot of people that are going to listen to this are familiar with you and your company and what you do. But for those that don't, like this product, it was made for your job sites,
Correct.
right? Like you're building,
really is.
most of your jobs
Yes.
are docks on the water in Tennessee. And so the fact that that moisture is, it's unaffected by moisture, you can install it wherever you want. And the traction, those two things specifically for you
Correct.
are
Game
huge.
changer. And also, one of the things that really I will tell now everybody about it that brought me to it is that they went out, and this is another thing that's very different. They came to me and they said, listen, we see what you do. We've watched what you've done on all the platforms across the board and the awards that you've won and all that type of stuff. And we're so blessed to have won all those awards and to have achieved that status where people recognize us. But they said, we want to build the best dock board there is. We can only do that by asking somebody who would be considered one of the best dock builders out there. And they said, so what we'd like for you to do is help us bring a board specifically for that to market. And they said, work with
And you're
us
like,
directly.
no thanks, I don't want to give any feedback.
No thanks, I
I'm
don't
super
want to do it.
shy.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk to people.
Kind of quiet. I usually sit in the corner. But no, when they said that, so they said you'll be a part of that and making those decisions on how it would work and what the market needs. And it was like product development is a huge thing for me, and I've wanted to always make a change, and be the guy that at some point people said, oh, it's because Jason did that.
Yeah.
And gives you kind of the opportunity to be a part of that. And a company embrace you enough to say, hey, we're going to listen to him and make that happen based on his thoughts and experience. So that was huge to me. Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the things I love about Deckorators that really tells you that they do things for their customers and not just for themselves all the time is your warranty, because every board out there offers a warranty, especially on the product, on the fading and staining and the structural component of it. And a lot of them will throw in some sort of sprinkle some sort of little bit of a labor warranty on there, as long as you stand on one leg and get their approval and be a Trex Pro, or not Trex Pro, but Trex Pro or TimberTech Pro or anybody's pro program.
Sure.
But you guys are like,
It's usually volume based too, right?
yeah, all those programs are typically volume based.
Yeah.
For us, in the industry, it's always been like, well, if it's installed properly, why does it matter if it was done by somebody who does $80,000 of decking a year or not? Like,
Correct.
So explain your warranty a little bit, because that's one of the most important parts. As long as it's done right, you'll warranty it no matter who's installing it.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a labor warranty on it, so as long as it's installed right, and one of our field specialists will go out, check out the job, make sure that it's all been done properly, and we will make sure that it is taken care of if there is a problem on the labor standpoint.
Yeah.
I think that's that lands so well with us in a retail location, because we do have quite a few DIY people going in. And that was one of the arguments that we always had with other brands, was like, well, listen, I've been on job sites where a contractor face stapled a deck down. I'm not even joking. He used a crown stapler and he stapled the decking down.
Did he use stainless?
No, he did
Oh,
not.
Varney, he didn't use stainless.
He didn't even know what
It would have meant
stainless was.
code if he used stainless.
He got that far. He's like, staples, sure, but they better be stainless.
But
Carpet
anyways,
staples.
If that guy had used, if he had used $80,000 worth of product that year, he would get labor warranty. And I know that we've had customers come in that are very detail oriented, and they go through the whole process, and that homeowner will build a better deck than this guy that used the staplers, but wouldn't have qualified for warranty. Right. With Deckorators, it does. It works. It's like, put our board on this spacing with these clips like this.
Yes.
Done.
And it's not only that, the whole thing about it is a lot of the programs are also set for volume based. So if you turn out $100,000, you get this. If you do railing and this, you get a little bit better of a warranty. So what really happens, regardless, is the customer gets penalized.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
By who they choose.
I really don't like those.
So if you have guy like myself or Blake or one of us that's really turning out a large volume, the customer would get a better return warranty. Right. A person like that's a smaller builder, but as detailed or as good or better than us, let's pick Scott Kelly. They don't receive the same warranty because he's not turning out the volume of money. Is that fair to the homeowner?
Right.
Exactly. One, it's not fair to Scott.
Exactly.
It's not fair to the homeowner. It's really not fair in general. So it's just like if you have, and they say, we have a product that's so good, we don't care how much it is, we'll warranty it regardless. Yeah. In discussion. We don't have to talk any more about it. And that's what industry's missed for a long time.
Right. Yep. Completely agree.
And then that gives you a ton more confidence in that board because it's like, well, if the manufacturer is going to stand behind it, then it's easy for you to stand behind it. Because let's be honest, your customer doesn't phone Nick.
And also,
they're not like, hey, Nick, my deck is falling apart. They phone you.
And I believe that may be some of the reason for what we've seen is the huge shift in the industry for a lot of contractors bouncing over to it. I agree they've captured a lot of large scale contractors, but a lot of the smaller contractors that aren't turning out millions and millions of dollars have moved that because their advantage now is equal playing field to me.
Right.
Where a lot of the companies have been penalized with if you're this pro or that program, if you're not turning out the kind of money that I'm turning out, you're not going to get the same warranty. So they're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So they've seen a lot of newer guys in the field come over because they receive the same benefit.
Right.
Huge.
So Nick looks a little bit too comfortable in that chair right now, so let's make him shake a little bit. When you came over, I'm joking. When you came over to decided to start using Deckorators, was there something we've talked a lot about what we love about it? Was there something that you kind of looked at and was like, boy, I wish that was better? Maybe they've addressed it already, but is there things that you see that you'd like to see Deckorators do? And this is just purely constructive feedback because I know they actually listen, right?
Yes.
So
my company trucks, we need nicer ones. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, there you go.
No,
as he has his vet sitting out there. Right?
Yeah.
If I could have a fleet of Teslas, that would be really good.
The answer to that is I saw some things immediately when we started using the products. It's kind of like the hidden fasteners. Hidden fasteners are a square drive. I don't like square drives. Nobody likes square drives.
Right.
I said, I don't want to ever use clips with square drives.
Yeah.
They said, we'll make them with star drives.
Right.
So I fully anticipate star drive clips to be out very soon.
So what do you use for clips then? You use the Deckorators ones? Because I know a lot of guys will use the camo clips.
We do right now. Yeah. We have not used camo.
They have some people around here.
Yes, and here's the thing. I used camo on every bit of this. The system is great. It's amazing. And I think that as soon as the guys buy into that, it's a game changer. You have to get the people to change your ways. You just get so used to the process of it. And like, we can fly through this, we can fly through that, we can do it better with this old brand clip or whatever it is that we're using. And then you watch this goes down so fast and so straight, and it's just a great system. So we do use Deckorators clips currently, even though we don't like the square drive in it. But at the same time, I do see that changing. There's lots of stuff in terms of colors that we've talked about. We're seeing changed. The deck boards for the dock space are changing and doing some different stuff that everybody will see here in the near future. There's some stuff that is just really, they've embraced everything I've asked for or said, and it's changed. Some things, I think they need to release it before I talk about it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to break anything or get myself in trouble.
Can you turn Nick's headset off for a second?
Yeah,
and let's
pull Nick's plug out and I'll talk all about this. No, but those things
now
are.
He's nervous. Look at him now. He's shifting his seat.
He's like, "Don't you say a thing? Don't you say a thing?"
I'm just waiting for my spot to get in on it. So.
But it really has made a huge difference on everything we've talked about or anything that we see. The problems get addressed, and I can't say enough about that because it makes a huge difference. Because it's not just me. I talk to tons of contractors, you all know. All the contractors daily, I get feedback, and we exchange thoughts, exchange processes of how this is happening, or I call upon you guys, say, how did you do this? Or I call on him and ask them, how do I install this thing? Get tons and tons of those messages, and with tons of those messages, I can relay that because I am a straight point of contact now with product development and everything else. So we got to have a phenomenal product development meeting in Knoxville the other day, and went through stuff and talked about the new stuff that we would like and changes, and it's really making a big difference. Yeah. So,
and one of the things we're also, in addition to the product, we're revamping our entire contractor program right now as we speak. And so currently you get 3% back on your uploads. We're going to continue that, and we're going to continue that on. But what we're doing is we're bringing on vendors. JobTread is one.
Now I can talk about it. Thank you.
And what we're doing is bringing on these companies that can help run the construction company, right? So JobTread is a construction management software company.
Right.
They can utilize their funds and purchase it, or they can keep their funds and let it build up and buy a Harley if they want, right?
Yeah.
We're
But
having
How many boards do you have to sell to get a Harley?
a couple.
We're going to have to look into this. We've sold enough. I should have a Harley.
Yeah. You want a Harley? Yeah, we'll go look at
Is it on the table?
We are in Texas.
We can make
so
it
we'll go
happen.
find one. So yeah, we want to. We're revamping it. We're gonna add a couple more vendors and keep growing it and help these contractors be able to run their business as well. So
Awesome.
That is, besides product, I would say that the what they asked, what did we see was the biggest needs for the contractors, because contractors always talk about it, and some guys threw out some great ideas.
Yeah.
One was, we've always played the game different or made a different process where I don't have what I would consider a hobby, which is a lot of new guys into the contracting field. They come in to provide for their family, right? And then they realize, oh, I'm making $100,000, or oh, I'm making this, or whatever the number is, and it's that. But in the event something was to ever happen, the business is gone.
Right.
Yep.
Nobody else can do it. We had to turn a hobby into a career, and a career into a business. And the way to do that is by truly handing over your management system to a fixed process and getting there. So what they saw is how we were doing it and how I was helping other people. And they said, is this a big thing? Yes. And I said, well, this is a process that we use. We link directly with JobTread, and JobTread's complete company has embraced it as well and said, like, what do you need to make it happen? What do you need for it to do? And they've made those modules, and they've changed the systems and done things that we have done. We track every bit of our financials on it. We track all of our jobs. We keep up with all of our updates. Our customers have a portal inside. We have payment processing. They have time cards. They have everything associated with it. And it's a very simple process. You can go as dumb as you want, to make a joke about it, or as advanced as you want. Some people might not want to go this super advanced way. But what we're trying to do as a contractor program right now is to simplify it. And I say this, if I had to make a post right now where I started up a new company, Jason's Decks, but I didn't know how to start it up, and I said, hey, I want an Instagram page. I could call you, I could call any one of these people around here. So how do I set up an Instagram page? They can all help, right?
Yep.
Because they're working on the same platform.
Yep.
Now, that's what we're trying to do by putting everybody onto the same kind of process and program scenario, that if so-and-so in Texas needs help and he wants to know how to run a business or how to make a quote or whatever, he can contact me and says, Jason, I know you're on JobTread, and I know you're doing this with the program. How can we make this happen?
Yeah.
And I can help him, and I can guide him right through making those steps, or literally transfer him our templates so he can help his business and see how it goes. So it's a great process.
It's good to have a community of people that can learn from each other and kind of like fast forward your success in business. Because if you try to do it all yourself, you'll eventually get there if you're serious enough about it. But it takes you years to learn and find the right tools and everything else.
Correct.
So it's cool that Deckorators is willing to kind of come in there and be like, hey, we've talked to a lot of guys, and we know the guys that are doing it well, and here's what helps them to do it well. Provide those tools to them through the program is a great idea.
Absolutely.
I don't want to cut you off, Jason, but we're trying to get through.
But we want to cut you off.
I'm going to get
I'm done.
I'm going to get rid of you. Okay. Nick's going to stay because he's the better looking one between the two. But we got Blake Carr we're going to bring on here as well. So Jason, thanks for giving us some of your time. I want to we want to get you on again because we did a podcast with you from your boat one time, I think.
You can do it again.
So if we got time,
But I think we should go
down.
We should go down
on
and do
your boat.
Yeah,
Let's do it. We could have a barge podcast.
Yeah,
How about
that'd
that?
be fantastic.
Serious, we could set it up right out in the middle of the lake. Do a barge podcast.
Yeah, water sharpens water. We'll do
That's exactly right. Water sharpens water.
it. Blake, I'm going to
Flip-flop,
call you
swap
up
wherever.
on your way up here. And
Careful with that mic,
while these
buddy.
guys are swapping out, I want to talk to Nick again about the thing that's not not prevalent at this event here is the wood. So this event's been kind of all
Yeah.
focused around the steel.
sure.
Because outside we've got the Newcastle steel and the
Thanks,
Fortress steel happening, and that's what everybody's curious about. Everybody knows wood, they understand it, so it's not getting the attention here.
For sure.
But you guys, well, through UFP, have your ProWood product that is here being built right behind us. So what do you, like, I guess, first of all, how is your product any different than the other treated lumbers that are out there? And the second part to that is, when you have contractors that are here that are like really still pushing towards steel, and you guys have kind of been like, yeah, let's go with, let's get our product on these steel frame decks. How do you spend any effort still trying to get the guys to use the wood products? Like, cause you're kind of playing in both spaces. So
Yeah, so it is a completely different segment, right? So we're Deckorators, and we also have ProWood, but we are owned obviously by UFP.
Yeah.
So with that, I guess the biggest thing is with this build here, we wanted Blake and actually Varney came up with an idea of let's go head to head with the frame and let's build a deck and let's see if we can build this as fast or faster than what they're doing, right? So that was the theory behind this build here. We are the largest pressure treated company in the world. So obviously UFP being that, that's the product that we
not just going to turn that off.
Yeah, and it's still a lion's share of the market, right?
Right.
Like, let's be honest.
right.
And probably
Lots
always
of-
will be. Like the
Yeah.
steel is a nice niche market thing for high-end jobs and whatnot. At least that's where it's at now. Whether,
Sure.
I don't know that it's ever going to become the primary framing material for
Like
all decks.
Yeah,
but
the sheer cost of it means it probably can't be,
Right.
right?
Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see like the guys, and I know there's some chatter before this event started about like, well, we'll see who finishes first, because there's always this thing about like, well, steel will take longer. But the way these guys have designed their systems, it really doesn't take that much longer. Once you've done a few jobs, you can be just as quick with it as you can with the wood. But
Plus, also, we're on steel side, so we've shut your wood project down here for an hour.
yeah,
Good luck
trying
with
to
that.
pause you, let them catch up a little bit out there. Blake Carter's joined us now on the mic here. You're gonna have to wipe it off because Varney had that thing halfway down his throat when he was talking. But so give that little wipe there. COVID protocols, Blake from California Deck Pros, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
That's
What are you
great.
drinking there? It's some like fancy looking water.
It's Liquid Death.
Yeah.
It's probably manufactured in Flint, Michigan.
Right. yeah. Yeah. Gives you a little bit of a kick.
Yeah.
Awesome,
A little
man.
arsenic.
Yeah. How's your how you guys doing on this wood deck back here? You've been
Well, I think if you took our total hours of actually working, it would be far less. But we're taking a lot of breaks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
A lot of breaks.
Forced break right now.
Yeah, beer break, Liquid Death break.
So tell me a bit about your company. You guys are in California. You do pretty big jobs for sometimes some pretty big name people down there too.
Yeah, we've been in business for 7 years. We serve the San Diego County area. And I always describe our company as highly concentrated. So people think we're a very large company. We have 2 people in the office and 8 guys on the crew. And I would say this year our average deck size was about 2,500 square feet.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good size. Deck.
So, I mean, that's not every year, but we average probably 1,000 square feet.
yeah.
So, and the jobs we do are highly concentrated, not only on the amount of jobs we're doing, but also the quality of the project.
So why are those size jobs what finds you? Are you just saying no to anything smaller? Like, do you have a certain size, like a budget or a certain square footage? You're like, we don't do anything smaller than
They
this?
they just find me, really. I mean, people that want that, they want it done right, and it's a large purchase. So these decks are ranging anywhere from $100,000 to, on the commercial side, $1.5 million.
Right.
But I mean, our average deck this year was in the 250, 350 range.
Right.
So I mean, you're purchasing a house,
Yep.
And these are detailed decks. It's not just decking. You have kitchens and fireplaces and
And then,
patios.
like,
and-
once you land in that space, then you're in that group, right? So that person that bought the $250,000 deck doesn't hang out with people that build $3,000 decks. They're not.
Well, a lot of guys they're a little intimidated to take on projects like that. I like them. They're easy for me because we set up our guys, and I don't need to set up a guy on a job every week. I set up a guy on a job or a crew, and we're there for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, you can really lose big doing that. So you have to be very efficient.
Right.
So
So you much like Varney there have some experience with other products as well. You've been around. And
Yeah, I mean, we've been a platinum pro with everything. I mean, if we use something, we're going to be a master in that product.
Right.
So we've been a platinum pro with Trex, with TimberTech, and we've used everything else. So we've used Elevation Steel Framing, which is now the new company, Newcastle Steel.
You were halfway there when you said new company.
I know. I was looking for their 10 outside. I was like, where's the 10? I forgot it. I'm so bad. And we do a lot of Fortress as well. So
right.
we do a lot of steel framing, but we still do a lot of pressure treated.
Right. So what attracted you to Deckorators decking? Because it's not like sometimes it's not an easy switch to be like uplift your brand and move to something else and start selling a different way. But what was the appeal?
So Deckorators came to me, and before they came to me, a guy in the lumberyard was like, "Hey, check this out. What do you think?" And this is a year and a half before even talking to Deckorators.
Right.
And
you came on when? You kind of made that switch like
about 5 months ago, 6 months ago.
I was like,
Okay.
I don't know, feel like it was February when you called me and you're like, hey,
Yeah. Well, so that's
what's up?
Yeah, exactly. So I saw it a year and a half ago, and he's like, "What do you think of this decking?" And I'm like, "Man, this looks great. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like anything else. Feels good. The traction that's the first, like, people that haven't walked on a Deckorators deck, you walk on a Deckorators deck, and you immediately notice. I've had numerous people tell me, here, man, I just walked on a Deckorators deck for the first time. It is grippy.
yeah, super grippy.
So,
like you have to worry for your ACL a little bit when you're over 40, like we are, right?
oh, yeah.
Tread carefully.
Yeah. Play some tennis on it.
Yeah. How'd you
That
blow
was
your knee out? Well, I just walked across it, really.
That was honestly much the same story of how Deckorators found its way into our store, because when we first started our store, we didn't have Deckorators was not one of our products, and one of our one of our distributors that we were buying other brands from brought it on, and they were kind of bringing it to us and be like, "Hey, you guys should add this." We're like, "We have 5 brands, we don't need any more brands." But it wasn't until Voyage came out and they brought it and we're like, "Hey, new board here, have a look at this." And we looked at it again, and our first response was, "We've told you, we have enough brands. We don't need anything. Like, we don't just need another composite board." But then you start to look at it, you start to feel it, and you look at the benefits and the value of it, and it's like how do you not? How do we not bring this on? Like,
That's
there's
right.
other boards that don't do any of these things. Now this is actually differentiated. It's just not another wood plastic composite with a cap on it, a 25-year warranty. Like, it's different. And so we
I
did
tell
bring it
people
on.
it's the new iPhone. I say, everything else is good. You have an old iPhone. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
This is the new one, though.
Yeah.
It's the shit.
It's pretty
Yeah.
tough to argue that if you were to say what's the best composite deck board on the market right now, like the Deckorators Voyage line gives probably the best bang for your buck as far as a pack of value and features and benefits in the industry.
And
right
I think
now.
the part that's the best about it is that when you say bang for your buck, it's like it's actually priced lower than other boards in the industry that
you get these
probably
things
don't
without
perform as
paying
good.
more. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, me and Varney are pretty close. So Varney calls me like a few months before I even meet Nick, and he says, "Hey, I'm working with this new board, the company." And back to kind of what Varney was saying in the podcast, he's like, "This company gives a shit about the contractors, and they're not just going to take you to a steak dinner. Like, they're going to help you build your business. Because I make enough money, I can take myself hunting, I can take myself to a steak dinner, but my company is going to make me more money. So the fact that people are willing to listen and do that with us, it's a big difference,
Oh, the old teach a guy how to fish strategy.
Yeah,
Eh?
yeah. So Varney calls me, tells me, "Hey, like, this product's good, this company is great. We should meet up." So Nick and Varney come out to California. They're like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I'm going to take you guys to do something. You're not going to take me." So I took them out to the desert, and we took my race car out, and we had a rollover accident.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That
I
was
a
you?
passenger.
Nick.
You rolled over?
No, I was a passenger.
Oh, who rolled?
Brand new car.
Brand new car my friend bought the day before. He rolled it 3 minutes after it got off the
No.
trailer. Yeah. So, yeah, anyways, we had a great time in the desert, rolled over, had some bonding experience. And then Nick says to me, he says, "Hey, we'd like you to try our product out before we talk about anything, or even, we want to make sure you like it."
Yep.
He's like, "Your
Yep.
first job, we're going to send you material, and if you like it, you like it." And that's how I am too. If I'm going to use something, I need to like it. My guys need to be able to like it.
Yep.
It's be easy to install, needs
Yep.
to perform well. So we tested it for a while and then used it, and we're like, "Dude, this is a game changer. We love it." Not only
He's
that,
like,
our customers like it.
I think I need to try it for one more job, guys. Actually, and maybe one after that too.
I wasn't
Potentially.
convinced on the first
So,
time.
what was the feedback from your guys? So, do you make this decision solely, or do you really
No,
rely on
like
your guys
I
to give feedback?
So my guys, truthfully, didn't like camo fasteners at first because they've used the Trex clips forever.
Right.
So when you're switching, it's hard to make that switch when you do the same thing.
And they're like, we're fast with
Yeah,
these
so,
already.
like-
We know how to use them.
Yeah, they're like, we can, like, those aren't faster. We got to come back. But a lot of the stuff we do is pretty intricate and it's at an angle. So
Right.
it didn't really make sense for us at the time. But now they like them. So
I could see if you were doing angle stuff, like angle fasteners,
using
and
X-
you're using the
yeah.
X clips over top of the
Yeah.
edge clip. Yeah, that's
maybe someday they'll take care of that. Okay, we'll just leave that there.
yeah.
So what
Put
was
that
the
in the ether.
what was the feedback from your crews when they started working? Like,
So
what
on
was
my crews, I was taking it to meetings with me.
Yeah.
And one thing I used to do is I used to be exclusive to a company.
Right.
And just like, but then I started losing jobs because
That's right.
some of my customers would be like, I don't like the way this Trex looks. It's too plastic looking. So then I brought on some TimberTech. I'm like, hey, take a look at this. So, like, I'm not going to limit my customers. They're going to do what they want. Jason said to me once, and even Nick said to me, he's like, look, and this is coming from the manufacturer. He said, if your customer has a TimberTech deck, don't sell them a freaking Deckorators dock. Like, have it match. That's stupid.
right.
You got a $5 million house. Like, you have the deck and dock match, you know?
Yeah.
So I start showing me my customers, start just laying it in there, and I just say, which one do you like the most? Everyone was picking Deckorators.
Right. Yeah, and there's never going to be one aesthetic of a board that is going to be universally, people are going to say that's the best looking stuff.
time.
Like, there's no doubt that Voyage is beautiful, but a lot of companies have beautiful deck boards, right?
Yeah,
And some people are going to prefer the look of one versus the other. So to not like force your customer into an aesthetic that they may not necessarily appreciate.
Sure.
It's nice that
Yeah.
the partners that you're working with aren't like slapping your wrist for using something else.
But also, I mean, it needs to be, my guys need to be able to work with it.
Yeah.
My customer needs to like it, and then warranty claim. Like, if the dog, if it doesn't perform well, like, why are we going to use it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the expansion contraction, that's a big issue with PVC that we've had. And
Because of all the cold winters you have down there.
Yeah.
Like, it really wreak havoc down in San Diego, I bet, hey?
oh, brutal.
Nick, since you've been working with them for 5 months-ish or so,
Yep.
obviously talking to them before then, but like,
What's
that
your biggest
relationship?
pain point with Blake?
Blake's pretty easy going. I mean, if you would have asked me that with Varney, I'd have probably had a list of things.
Yeah, that's why I didn't. I was like, we only have so much time.
He knows he'll get his ass kicked.
But what value do you, aside from selling deck boards, what value do you guys get from these relationships you build with Jason and Blake and whatever else? Like,
so we have a field specialist out there in California that works very close with Blake and his team. Other benefits that we've gotten since Blake's been on board, we've gotten Dixieline Lumber as a stocking dealer down in San Diego.
and is that your
Builder First
Your-
Source owns him.
Okay.
Down in, and I think we've got 3 locations now and moving on to more. So, solely with Blake walking in there and saying, this is what I'm going to use and this is what I need. And I need it on the ground. They supported him and helped us with that business there now. So in addition to that, we've got other contractors in that market too that it's readily available for as well. So especially for a brand new market, it's definitely a game changer.
There's no
with
doubt
everything he's
that
doing.
like that strategy of, I mean, these guys are influencers, obviously, right? Like, whether in different ways,
Sure.
but even from that, it's like, oh, that might not have been flashy on an Instagram post, but the fact that a lumberyard and its 3 locations brought product on, which then ends up in other contractors' hands, like, Blake was part of that.
Absolutely.
If that relationship doesn't happen, then that influence isn't there, right?
Absolutely.
Also, like, our lumberyards follow us on Instagram and Facebook and
Yeah.
all these places. And
Yeah.
just like Varney said, there's a group of us guys, and what we start testing and using is kind of what people will start doing. And we're just not picking something for the hell of it. We're testing it and making sure it works good before we start
Yeah, because
posting
it's a lot bigger than just like putting it on a customer's deck, right?
Yeah.
Now it's bigger than that. People are watching and
Yeah,
paying
yeah.
attention.
That's right.
So I get messages all the time from contractors and like, what's Deckorators?
Yeah.
How can I get it? Who do I call?
Yeah.
And
Well,
we
that's-
have a system for that. So
Like, that's what these guys probably do know, but those conversations happen, right? Like, when you were moving toward or thinking about doing this, you messaged some guys that were familiar with it.
Yeah.
And you were like, what do you guys think?
I
Because-
called Wade and I said, I didn't ask him, what do you like about Deckorators? I said, tell me everything negative about Deckorators.
Yeah.
Everything bad.
And I said the rep,
He's a real prick.
and then
So there's this guy, Nick. And
If you can get past
sucks.
Nick, then the board's great.
yeah, no, it was just like the board's like when you called, I was like, yeah, I consider myself a fairly straight shooter,
yeah.
and then I didn't have any complaints. My biggest complaint was there was too many board widths, but that's because I'm a dealer and I don't want to carry 51 lifts of decking. But
Well, I started calling other manufacturers too, and like guys that are pretty high up I know, and say, hey, what do you know about this Deckorators brand that's up and coming? Like, do you know anything about their board? And not one guy said anything bad. A couple of them were like, it's really nice.
Yeah.
I won't say who they are, but they work for the top 2 big companies. So.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, we got another guy we want to run through here as well. Blake, thanks for sitting down and giving us some of your time and feedback for
thank you.
your experience at
Talk
Deckorators.
again.
That's pretty good.
Let you get back to drinking your liquid death and see how that plays out for you. We're going to bring on Kevin Choquette from Raven Builders here as well while these guys swap out. I got permission to ask this question. I don't even know what's behind it, but there was an email that went to Bryce that said, like, feel free to ask about heat. And so it's a pretty common issue or well-known thing for homeowners and everybody. They're like, we heard composite decks get hot, and they do. There's just no two ways about it.
Sure.
Some boards get a little bit less hot, obviously lighter colors, but there's something sounds like you guys are kind of trying to work and find a solution to that in some way. You tell me, because all I got was like, ask them about heat. Maybe it's just about how much you're sweating right now.
No, I was honestly trying to figure out, like, what
it's 110 down there. Ask them about the heat.
No, so our board, because it is mineral based and doesn't have wood in the product and it doesn't have any moisture content, it actually cools off faster, so it doesn't retain the heat, right?
Yeah.
But as far as, just like you said, I mean, the lighter boards are going to be less hot than the darker boards, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't retain the heat. And one thing that we've learned with your guys' last podcast, with some of the guys that are doing the bending, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot more heat to bend our boards, but then as soon as they take it out of that blanket, it cools off immediately. They only have a couple seconds to really play with it.
Yeah.
So that didn't answer your question as far as like what are we doing on the backside. I don't have anything at this point to give you on that, but
that's fine.
As far as where we're at.
When we first brought on Deckorators, there was the feedback from guys that were handling it was, it feels cooler when you walk around with it, and we're like, really? Okay.
It was like, we were carrying it and it's cooler.
Yeah.
To the touch. So I was like, well, we should look into this.
But when we did our heat test, because we do this every couple of years, we'll go out and we'll throw a whole bunch of boards out in the sun. And in Canada, like a hot summer day is like 38, right? So we put it out in I'm kidding, 38 Fahrenheit. No, but
38 Celsius.
We put it out there and we just shoot it with the thermal gun and see where these things all play, because it's like you want to cut through the marketing sometimes and be like, how hot does it actually get? When they call it a cool something technology, is it actually say cooler? And often the answer is no. Right. And so when we did that, we expected to find that Deckorators would be cooler, and it wasn't. It was just kind of like average right within everybody else's stuff. But I think what was actually happening is that, to your point, how it doesn't hold the heat in the core of the board and it dissipates fast, you grab it and it might be warm right away, but like as soon as your hand kind of covers it, like that heat's gone, and so it kind of makes sense. Like, it feels cooler, even though in direct sunlight with a laser not touching it, it's technically not.
Right.
But it works cooler.
For sure.
So that's kind of a neat thing. Yeah. Kevin Choquette. 2 days I was trying to figure that one out on the way here. From Raven Builders.
We were going to go with chocolat,
but there's no way it's chocolat. He's joined us here in the podcast now as well. Welcome to the pod. How's these last couple days been here? You've been out there working, man.
It's been a blast. Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a vacation away from the job site, right? Except I got roped into building 5 decks while I was here.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. I got to play out in the field, do some steel. I got to hang with the guys and do some wood and some decorators inside. We're actually outside right now putting together, alternating width Costa.
Yeah.
And I will say it's steaming hot in that parking lot, and that, light tan Costa Voyage is completely workable, not hot.
Yeah. It doesn't have to stay cool. It's nice if it's not going to tear the first layer of skin off your hand. Right?
I really think when it comes down to it that, 95% of these deck boards have a very similar polymer cap
100%,
on top of that core.
Right.
So really, like, that direct sunlight is extremely based on color.
Yeah.
And maybe positioning of the deck to the, compass and how, what the exposure is and what time you're trying to use it. And I always have those questions with customers when we talk about color and we talk about heat, because that's a really common thread, right? When we're selling is they want to know how hot they get. So the best opportunity for us is I like to leave samples out.
Right.
While we're having the conversation, while we're pitching. And then we can go back to those samples and see for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, you bet.
How hot is this one? This is our, our Voyage Kaya, which is a beautiful dark hardwood, but it's dark in color. It's going to be warm.
Yeah.
it's just the reality of,
if they're torn between Costa and Kaya, and they're like, wow, we're really torn. That might be the difference maker. You feel it. It's
Yeah.
like, well,
And
it
we-
does stay a few degrees cooler.
And we then might, utilize the Kaya for some accents. Some, I try to stay away from dark colors on the drink rail because people want to set their arms on it. And it's
Exactly,
just
yeah.
kind of common sense when it
Yeah.
comes to finding that balance of form and function. And
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your company, where you guys are, and how you operate. And
So we're based out Northeast. We're in Rhode Island. I'm in Southern Rhode Island, which is a coastal region. We're on actually the Block Island Sound, Atlantic Ocean, and we are. I'm a small firm. We have 3 guys in the field. We have a sales associate, project manager, kind of hybrid role, which has been a big change for us this year because I've enabled myself to get out of answering all the contact forms, doing the consultations, the sales pitch. I've backed myself out of that situation. I've been able to kind of work more in the strategic area. We'll build 40 decks this year. Ranging from $20,000 to $150,000.
Right.
And we exclusively install Deckorators. And 90% of what we do is voyage.
So when did you make the switch?
To exclusivity with Deckorators in the last year.
Okay. And what made you do that?
Now, so I found Deckorators strictly by luck of the draw. Early in the pandemic when we were experiencing extreme material shortages, and I was pretty much being held hostage to be able to build jobs that were already sold that we had provided distributors with our outlook of several months, and promises were constantly being broken. I was in my local lumber yard. It was actually a pretty big outfit, and they had what appeared to be a train car of decking that I had never heard of, and I started kind of picking through it, and I stumbled upon Voyage.
Okay.
And I said, wow, look, this is, and I'll be perfectly honest. I told some guys this yesterday. My first Voyage deck, I knew nothing about the core.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about the material.
Yep.
I thought it was PVC because of the weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because of the quality of the cap and just my experience with decking. And, it's like, first jigsaw blade through it. It's like, try to cut it with a T-word blade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So from there, I actually, one of my first, so my second Deckorators project was, a big cut up, designed low multi-level, pergolas. And so actually the lumber yard happened to send out their Deckorators field specialist and their regional sales manager.
Okay.
And they just kind of popped by the job. And through that meeting, I started to build a relationship with this company.
Isn't that so great? It's like Deckorators sometimes goes out, gets people, finds them, right, and is like helps build the brand. But then you come across it authentically, right? You just find it, and you're like, you weren't coerced to like it. You were just like, this board is amazing.
usually it wouldn't be a good thing if the lumberyard's got a truckload of decking that hasn't moved. It's like, it's here. Nobody, it's like, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
It was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
To be able to have material on the ground. And then from there, as this relationship between their company and mine, this massive company, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me kind of currently, growing my family at home and growing this business and really just getting into like the marketing aspects. And I have so much on my plate and I'm wearing all the hats at that point, and I'm just burned. And these guys were just like, everybody that I've dealt with through this company has really gotten me to where I am now, just through the support I've received. Really just, they've never said no.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, if a customer is not, is that concerned about a color and isn't willing to take my professional advice of my experience in attempts to file other warranty claims with other companies, dealing with our, constant 30-degree temperature swings in our climate.
Yeah.
And 80 to 90 degree seasonal temperature swings.
Yes.
Are salt water,
Right.
spray, mist, storms. I have 2 decks this year and that will get wet in storm surge.
Right.
Okay.
They will, bottom treads will be submerged in salt water.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So for me,
Like, we're from Saskatchewan, so no, I don't know what you mean.
yeah. So I'm
we're
talking
so far from
I'm
the water.
talking stainless hardware, stainless hangers, stainless everything.
Yep.
Decorators, boards, and I firmly believe that we'll get our 20, 30 years out of it, no problem.
Because that's an application where a lot of building materials like struggle to survive that, or they're significantly reduced lifespan, right? So it's, you almost have to, in those environments, work with a product that can say, like, we're impervious to moisture. And there's a couple out there, but Deckorators being one of them. So what are you getting from feedback from your customers now that were you exclusive to a different brand before, or you were just offering everything and anything?
I was a platinum installer for one of the larger brands.
Yeah.
I had my last job, that was a notable project prior to me going exclusive. It was a 3,500 square foot PVC
Oh boy.
that was installed in the winter.
Right.
So we're dealing with that now. We took all the precautions that we possibly could in that process because we know what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're batting down the hatches because we know what's going to happen, and really, respectfully for our efforts, we've done really well on it. Really had to go kind of, button up some of the fascia stuff and, nothing really with the big stock. But after that, I mean, my customers, I was reading some of my reviews to these guys last night, like I have reviews on there that start off, I'm literally obsessed with this company. Stuff like that. And a lot of that goes into like our scheduling and our reliability and our, our attitudes and my teams. But a lot of that too is just our ability to be comfortable installing a product and develop a system for doing that and like have the support that I need. And like, if we run into any issues, like make a quick, simple phone call and have those problems solved, like sooner than you could ever get anybody on the phone. I'm not emailing a robot for my point system.
Yeah.
Right? Like I tell guys all the time, they ask me about these guys like Nick will, he will drive to the end of the earth for me, whatever I need. Like when I need something, like I make a phone call.
Yeah.
I'm not like fighting some third party robot system.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so important.
and that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
I was uploading invoices for like the 7th time,
Right.
Oh yeah.
trying to get my money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I was promised.
'Cause then what
if
happens
I
is
sold this massive job.
You start thinking like, well, this is all just a song and dance. Like they tell me they want me to do this, but I'm now loading the invoices for a 7th time. Like they actually probably don't want me to make this happen. Right?
I can't.
And they're like,
and I
no,
can't
we want you
respond.
to. It's like,
And I can't respond. And I ask for help. And I ask the person who would be like the guy who would be working for Nick for help. And he's like, yeah, all right, and he sends an email. And a week later, I'm still getting rejected. And it's 2 months later now. And I've already moved on.
Yeah.
yeah. Shane and I talk about this all the time. This industry it's all relationship based, the whole thing, right? And if you don't have a good relationship with the companies that you're working with, then it's worth nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I want to speak to that too. Is my relationship with Nick and with with my local field specialists and my regional sales and the marketing department and really everybody is incredible. But the relationships that I've gained through being like in a family of installers, like if this was, you couldn't have paid me to come here if all these guys weren't here.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Like this is like, we're here really, we're all very busy.
Yeah.
And we have these clips in time where we have the opportunity to get together, and it's just an incredible time. And every time I seem to build like a couple new relationships and those blossom and really, you see us online. Like we're all in the groups,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, we're just like a big family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This event, the more it grew, the more people were intrigued by it. It was like, I think at one point when it was kind of smaller, guys were like, yeah, that's cool, they're doing that. And then all of a sudden it was 40 contractors and there was 60. And then it was like, people like, well, shit, like, I don't want to miss out on this. And then you end up at 90 people, right? Like that grew in a couple weeks.
Yeah. And you're
this
like,
is a bigger thing.
damn, Ashley, like this is the middle of the season for everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
can't
well, that's the other thing too,
can't
right?
you do this in the fall?
Yeah.
I was like,
Right.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing your story, because that's awesome. I like that this was one kind of where you found them first. And actually, I'm curious about that then. So then how did so they started? When did that?
We ended up meeting at Deck Expo in Dallas, actually.
Okay.
This last year. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Anything else you want to share with us, Nick, about what's coming up for Deckorators? You probably can't spill too much. I'm sure you have amazing
we
things.
just locked down Pro Summit, so we'll be announcing that at the end of the month.
Okay.
Where that's going to be.
Okay.
So
Yeah, sweet.
give a little teaser on that.
Yeah.
Pretty excited on where we're going.
Do you want to explain that for somebody who's maybe not using Deckorators, what that is?
Yeah, so Pro Summit is for our top 10 contractors that do the uploads.
Okay.
So we take them plus 2 from Canada to a resort place every year. Basically go out and have fun. Thank you for doing the business with us. Get the team together, get all the contractors together, and have an awesome event. This last year we added 2 additional spots. We're calling it the Beyond Ordinary Award. So that's going to be for someone that isn't in the top 10, but they go above and beyond, right? They're out there on social media. They're out there preaching our product, exclusivity when they're just using us only, right? So someone that's really out there actively, they can do 1 deck or they could do 40 decks, right? But someone that's doing that for us, and we've added that this last year. Our team, my 17 field specialists across the country, actually vote on it, and we'll be bringing that person in.
So that's cool, because I think there certainly has been a bit of some FOMO there, where guys are they don't even have the capacity to get into the top 10. It's just not going to happen for them, and maybe they don't even ever want to get there. They want to keep their company small and keep the quality high, so they're only 40 decks or maybe even 10 decks a year.
Right.
So they're never going to be a top 10 guy, but the fact that they can still get some recognition and maybe be a part of it is cool. So
Yeah, because
good for you guys
it doesn't mean that they're not doing good stuff.
No.
Right?
They might be doing better stuff. It's just not volume, right?
That's right.
So, I mean,
That's right.
we talked to David Settlemyer here yesterday, man. That dude does, what did he say in their podcast a couple weeks ago? He does 6 jobs a year, but everything is so intricate and custom that it's just
That's right.
Wild.
That's right.
So, that's
Yeah,
really cool.
other than that, just growing the brotherhood and getting everyone excited. I mean, it seems like every event we do, we have people coming in from other states, which is amazing.
Yeah.
We had an event down in Southern California 3 weeks ago, and Ashley flew out for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just the brotherhood and the culture that we're building here is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you guys said it's all about the relationships,
Yeah.
right? And the respect that we have with our family. I mean, we're nothing without these guys.
Yeah,
right?
and I think it's so good that you guys are bringing on, ways to help these guys grow their company. Not
right.
just you're not just trying to hawk boards. It's you do better, and here's the tools we'll give you so that you can do better. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a bit of a group chat there that we had formed over the last few weeks about this event with some guys from there, and I know guys were chatting about it coming up and everything, and Wade piped in there at one point. He's like, I know I haven't met half of you guys, but you guys are my best friends. It's just that community's been built. Half of us have only we've known you for a few years for a couple different companies, but if you count the actual hours of time we've spent together, it's probably not great, right? But the connection doesn't end when we leave, because we're also connected through our industry and the platforms that we're on, that
And interests.
you're buddies regardless of distance, right? So it's really cool.
Absolutely.
So thanks guys for taking time. I think we'll unpause everybody. Everybody's standing around and being like, okay, if we could get back to this now, we could to finish up these jobs. So we'll let you guys go. Thanks for your time today to share your stories on the podcast. It's
Appreciate
been awesome.
you guys. Thank you.
And go enjoy the rest of the event, and we'll see you tonight.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
Thank you,
thanks.
guys.
Hit it, Bryce.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships, or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go.